Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast. This is episode 159. I am your host, Supreme King, and join with me as always is my co-host, and his name is...
It's your guy Omazes.
How's it going, man? How you doing today?
I'm chilling. Cannot complain. How you doing?
I'm doing cool. We got hit out of nowhere with one of the biggest announcements of the of the gaming industry of a whole new, console hybrid. It was supposed to have been the Xbox that was coming out with a console hybrid, but it looks like Steam said, "Hey, we are here and we have a full package, a whole bunch of stuff." So we're gonna get right into that. But first, I do want to make mention to the game I have on the screen. I was originally saying at first I was not going to make footage of this, but I decided to do it anyways. This is recorded, I think, like 2 months ago. But this is Tiny Thor. It's a PC game. I believe it is on the Switch as well. It's, your standard side-scroller adventure platformer type game where you do play as Thor himself as a kid. I think in here he might be like a preteen or probably 8 or 9 years old. He has his hammer. And this is a PC game, first and foremost, and then it is on the Switch afterwards, I think. But it's fun. I would say, play it. It is a little challenging. There were moments where and you'll see in this footage, I just put it on God mode or something because it was like a particular platform I just could not get past because the game is set up where you have to use the hammer to kind of push you forward sometimes, and I couldn't get the right angle and I kind of got annoyed and I was like, you know what, I ain't got time. So you might see that somewhere in here, but I do recommend playing it. It is fun, especially if you are a fan of Thor himself overall. This is a cool game. Hopefully they make like a 3D version of this or something at some point, because we haven't really had a Thor game for this generation. I know there was something in the Xbox 360 time frame, but that was pertaining to like the movies of it. It's like, let's have an original Thor game. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, this is Tiny Thor. Now moving along, hottest system to come out of nowhere, where it was rumored that there was going to be a Steam machine at some point, and then they ended up just simply calling it the Steam machine. But yeah, it's a nice little box, nice little cube. It looks like a GameCube or a very inspired GameCube. So many different things to say about this thing. I will say in its very, very initial announcement, I was semi against it because I kind of just felt like for myself, there wasn't really a point of it because according to its specs and stuff, it's like equivalent or slightly less powerful than my streaming PC. Not even my main PC. But I don't think this is something that really appeals to me. It's supposed to be for probably people who just want a foot into the door of PC gaming. But it all depends on how they handle this system. But I do like it. I'm not gonna hold you up. I like almost everything about it. I'm still because I told you before in the DMs, I do not like that controller at all. I'm still against the controller. But everything else everything else looks great. I am interested in what their headset is going to do as well. I think most of the buzz is around the machine itself, the console. But the headset is apparently going to launch right alongside it. I don't know how much the full package might be. I think there's no pricing at all. I initially thought it was going to be a very expensive thing just for the console itself, but based on the specs that we're hearing and them claiming that they want to make it affordable, it might not be as expensive as what I thought, because I thought it was going to be on the same level as like the Rog Ally X, the Legion Go 2. Maybe it's not, but go ahead, tell me your immediate thoughts on this thing.
So I think it's gonna be console priced.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll see, but I think it's gonna be the same as like getting a PS5 or a Series X. Um, I think it's gonna be bought by people who just want to have everything, but I feel like it's made, as you said, for people to get their foot in the door. For PC, I think this is actually perfect for not tech savvy people to have something that can do Steam, right? Because when it comes to PC, whether you like it or not, and depending on how powerful your PC is, there's different levels of tinkering you have to do, right? Like, I was thinking about the other day where I was going to play this one game, and I had to just scale it down a little bit because I still have to upgrade my PC. So since it's older, right, it couldn't handle the higher frame rates and all that other stuff, so I had to manually just lower some stuff, and there was a few things that I had to lower without making it look too bad, and it was still very good. There's people who just don't want to do that or can't. They don't know what they're doing. I know people who, if something goes wrong with their technology, their only thought process is, well, factory reset. And if that doesn't fix it, they go, it's broken. I don't know what to do. Like, and that's it. They don't know how to even look up what to do. And then even sometimes I'll see things like how intimidating it can be. It was like, how do I fix this? It's like update to drivers. And it's like, I don't know what that means. Right? Like for newer PC people, or like go into this setting, open this control panel, do this, type this, fix this. They just want something that they can just plug in and play. So a lot of people would stick with console because they don't have to deal with all the tinkering. Well, now there's a machine that can access a Steam library. It's probably going to have the abilities to access like Epic and all that other stuff through Heroic, but it's a Steam library where all the Xbox stuff is pretty much on Steam. A lot of the PlayStation stuff is moving to Steam, and it's probably going to, for the most part, be very much plug-in, and it just works with very little tinkering, even to the point where in one of the videos that I was watching when they were talking about the specs, one of the guys said, people like to customize and like, mess around with stuff, and it's like, feel free, but please know what you're doing, because I think they're designing it to not really need or be made to be messed around with. That's not the goal in mind. So I do think it's for those that just they're afraid to move over to PC, or they're not tech savvy enough to really be
Mm-hmm.
having high end PCs, or mid range PCs. And this is now a mid range thing that's going to be able to play everything at a nice mid pace setting for them to enjoy, and is basically a console for Steam. I think it's great for them. I just don't know if they're gonna. They should market it that way. I don't know if it's gonna come off that way.
I just want to say real quick, this is the part in the game where I was just like, you know what, I'm about to cheat, but um, the Steam machine I think is a great concept. I will admit I am trying to find a reason why I would get it. But I
Again, I
don't.
don't think it's for us to get. I feel
Yeah.
comfortable enough with tinkering with a PC and planning on upgrading my PC. You're definitely good with it. Like I don't. I do think this is for that person that's like, well, I want a PS5 because I don't want to have to deal with all that stuff, or I don't want to have to pay $2,000 for a high-end PC, so I know it'll work. Again, without me having to tinker settings, they could pay something console price for something that'll be ready to go.
So I asked like a bunch of people, well, in this group chat thing at my job, what would be your motivation to get this if you already have a handheld and also a computer? And their response was mainly because they could hook this up to a TV in their living room, and I thought that was a pretty decent, thing. Technically, you can put a regular PC in there as well. It probably is just not going to fit as good. Um, the concept of this thing has technically been done before.
Yeah.
Because if you guys could Google mini PC period, there's actually a whole bunch of cubes out there that are just straight up PCs. Funny enough, before I even got the handhelds, I actually considered buying one. And it wasn't for like regular PC stuff. It was actually to do emulation on, because they had a bunch of them that were like in the $200 and $300 range that were good enough to do pretty much all of the old emulation, and it was like a nice little small cube that you could just slide next to your consoles on at the TV, and then you can put OS on there that was called Battle Sarah, which is like a really nice arcade looking thing that really pretties up like you selecting through consoles and then playing the games there, and then you just hook a hard drive to it and that was it. I kind of didn't do it because at the time the laptop was still kind of good enough, and then that's when the Steam Deck was initially introduced, like right after that, along with the Rogue Ally, and I ended up taking that route. And then those things you could just dock. I have a dock for both of them, and then you could put them both on your regular TV. I've done that at least once. So really, like people will wait for this thing the first quarter of 2026, but it's really one of those things where you can kind of do now. I remember in one of those videos a dude was talking about how you can go straight to a website and get the OS for your machine. Here are the specs. They're also going to release like 3D prints of the outer shell. You can already do a 3D print for the faceplate if you want to customize it, and they'll have a bunch of different customizations of that faceplate as well.
Real quick,
yeah,
on that, in a lot of the videos where I saw the actual like people from Steam, like or from Valve talking about this machine, almost every time like there was a different video, the faceplate on it was different. Like there was one that was solid black, then there was one that had this red design, and then the last video I saw, it was like a wooden brown panel. But like each time the front plate was always different. So yep, they're already getting ready for that.
I do kind of want, like, if anything, I would keep mine a solid black. I'm not too much concerned about changing the faceplate. It would be nice, like, if they make like one of those transparent ones or something, or if somebody does like a Steam logo mashup with the GameCube logo and it was transparent. Is this me giving up on the screen? You saw me hit this. I'm about to do it in a minute, bro. How do you see what I'm trying to do? Like, it was impossible.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not about to do that. Like, it was impossible. I was like, you know what, I'm done. So but anyways, this machine does have some limitations though that we have to address. Similar to the Steam Deck, because it's a Linux based machine, it won't play all PC games, similar to the way the Steam Deck was. So certain PC games from the past and stuff, you're not really going to have direct access to play. Not only that, there was the big elephants in the room, Fortnite, now Marvel Rivals, and any other game that apparently has anti-cheat software in it. A lot of the Battle Pass type stuff. This type of machine probably won't play it, which is kind of known from before with the Steam Deck. So it's kind of like it's the same software and stuff being moved over. So you're going to have those limitations where before, I remember where I used to compare it to the Rogue Ally, where the Rogue Ally was a Windows-based machine, so everything just worked, right? Because it was Windows. So because it's Linux, just be aware that's a big issue. One big part of that is like our unofficial sponsor, which is Epic Games. So with Epic Games, you have to do a bunch of workarounds to try to get your Epic library to work on a Steam Deck. I would imagine it is still the same thing with this thing too.
I would like to point out also, not everything works. There's been a constant issue. I know somebody going through this, and I looked it up online, and it's a very common thing that Heroic also, like, some of the games mess up when going through Epic. There's been this thing where you open up the Epic game, and then even though the controls are set, for some reason the button you press is not registering to its correct button, right? So you're pressing Y, but it's pretending like you're moving the analog stick, even though it says it's all fine. Like it just messes up the controls, and you have to do this whole super workaround for most of them to work, but it doesn't always work. So that's been a nonstop issue that they haven't fixed.
Yeah, so those are things to keep in mind. There will be two different SKUs. From my understanding, one of them is going to have 500 gigs of memory to like store games, and the other one is going to be a full 2 terabytes. I imagine the full 2 terabyte model should have some more specs, but from my understanding, the specs are still relatively the same. It's just one of them is going to have more space. The VR headset we'll get to in a second is the same thing, except it's 256 gigs for the low end model, and the high end model is 2 terabytes. So there's going to be two sets for both. So I think the affordable option is probably going to be the lesser memory one, and then or lesser gig space, and then the one that's probably going to be there for the hardcore is the 2 terabytes space. But yeah, it's out there. It's a cool machine. There was like the thing I said before in our DMs, like, are we buying the same thing a little too many times over and over again? One of the things that stood out to me is some of the games that they had tested with this in some of the videos that I've seen, and it was like your usual suspects. Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, Spider-Man 2. And I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, well, they used these exact same games last year to try to show off the PS5 Pro. And it's like, well, now we're kind of doing the same thing again here. And it's like, well, when does it end? Like, we're not even really showing new games like that. We're just kind of using the same games over and over again to demo another machine that's going to do the same thing that we already have. So that to me is a whole issue in itself. But not to take any buzz away from the thing. I mean, it's still going to be a hot item. I don't know if it's going to sell as much as people might think. The only reason why I think that is because the Steam Deck itself was not put out there for the people that we think this is for. Because we're saying this is for people who don't, want to tinker and stuff. They just want to pick up and play. Well, those are, in my opinion, the same people who will buy something like this from your normal retail store. And the Steam Deck was not in a retail store. The Steam Deck you got off Steam, and maybe you might have found a used copy at a mom and pop or a GameStop, but primarily it was on Steam. And I can imagine this machine, unless they do a new deal or somebody smartens up, I don't think this is going to be in the retail stores. I think it's going to be an online only thing, which is going to cut out a lot of people. Because if it's out of sight, out of mind, I don't think a lot of people are going to just be searching for this. Only the hardcore is going to search for it, similar to what the Steam Deck was. And the Steam Deck, from my understanding, its initial sales was like 2 or 3 million. I would imagine the machine is going to be similar. But I do think if they do not put it in a Walmart, a Best Buy, even a Myers in that little electronics section, if you don't put them in the stores, you're going to do yourself a disservice. That's just my opinion. Any thoughts on that?
I think it'll depend on the marketing or it if they're not heavily blasting this thing like on every commercial and every ad, right? Because a lot more people buy online now. Everybody doesn't like to go to stores anymore. So it depends on how well they market it. If they're just saying,
Yeah.
Steam machine and not really explaining stuff, then everybody's gonna be like, well, it's for the people who want to do Steam stuff. Where I think if they really, it's just like, hey, do you want to get into PC? Steam machine. Like they want it to market towards people who want a foot in the door. They have to make it sound like that instead of just sounding like it's a new thing for Valve. Because I'm guaranteed those people who saw advertisements or things for the Steam Deck, it was like, well, that's for people who play Steam. I don't play Steam, right? So again, not looking into it to see what it is. I think if they really want to market it as like, this is how you get your foot in the door, they need to say that, like, as to be, and then people are going to be like, well, maybe I will check it out. So it depends on their marketing.
It
I still
also
don't think it's not gonna sell super crazy, but it just depends on the marketing.
um the thing too, also the UI is still going to be the same big picture UI. It's just going to be that machine, in its like physical form, but the software is not new at all. We've been using it this whole time. And not only that, you can still kind of make one yourself. I've seen a video already where somebody said I couldn't wait until whenever this comes out, blah blah blah, which was kind of a gimmick video, but they sat there and made a little mini PC and then put the software on there, and it was just like boom, and that was it. So um if I was to get it and put it in my living room, honestly, the only thing that would be different for that machine compared to everything else is that I will hook up the little sensor bar, the PC sensor bar, so I could do Wii emulation, and that's it. That's like the only other thing. Almost everything else is like already taken care of on my regular computers and stuff. And it's funny because I kind of just got used to not being in the living room and having everything kind of set up in my actual computer area. Just for them to do that and be like, oh, that might push me back to the living room, but literally, like, I'm out of the living room now. I'm kind of just over here where the PC is over here. I think my old Switch is supposed to be over there, but technically I got both Switches over here as well. So I had to work on my setup, but if I was to play Steam games, my first thought is actually to go to one of the handhelds at this point. And my second thought is to go to my bigger PC. I would just have to find a reason why I would play it on that. And the only thing I think of is just to go on the TV or Wii emulation. That's the only thing, because it's impossible to do Wii emulation over here in this corner, just because the sensor bar, you have to be at a certain distance away in order for the nunchuck and stuff to pick it up. So that would have some value to me, but then again, I could still dock the Steam Deck over there and do it that way and hook the sensor bar up to the deck. So but that's just me. For everybody else though, one thing that they did mention was if you have an older PC, this thing would be a good upgrade for you. And so my question is for people, would you upgrade to this instead of like upgrading the computer? What are your thoughts on that?
I think people who are into upgrading their PC are gonna upgrade their PC. They're not gonna, like, if they buy this, it's just because they just want it. But I don't think it's for that. I think it is for the people who have an older PC or aren't into building PCs, and they're like, I don't want to have to pay like $2,000 for the latest PC every couple years because they're not thinking about buying upgrade parts because they don't want to bother with any of that. Then this is good for them, right? The same reason it's just like, well, why don't you, that old joke where it goes, PC is stronger than a PlayStation, and it's like, is your PC stronger than a PlayStation? Like that whole joke. It's for the people who don't want to bother with having to get a PC that's stronger than a PlayStation. Yeah, that's where I think we're going to go. I would also just like to mention, I know you mentioned it before, but I just got to stress it again. Man, that controller is ugly. I'm sorry. It
just doesn't look comfortable to me. They keep trying to make an emphasis on those trackpads. I wish they had two different versions where it was one without a trackpad. It sounded like they were going to have a way for you to buy the machine without the controller. The controller is like the only thing that's unique about this whole thing, because everything else is like you can do this or that. If I was to get it, I would swap that controller out immediately. I would go straight for an Xbox controller. No doubt about it. I would not mess with that thing. But I mean, it does not look comfortable. And then that's basically a new layout that you would have to, learn a little bit. It does have its back paddles, I think, that were like a circle shape. It's a little bit different than some of the other ones that people are probably used to. But honestly, I would go for either the Elite controller or the Edge controller. If I was to do another controller for this thing, I would not want that controller, I'm gonna be honest. But that's the only thing about this whole package that I did not like. I will watch more videos and give it a shot. If it comes with the thing and I ultimately decide to buy it, then I will give it a shot with a title. I'll try to play some title from start to finish with it, just to see. For people who will put this in their living room, at least that controller will give them some sense of this is a different machine than my other machines, with that UI and everything, because it is still technically different than a PS5 or an Xbox, and the Switch as well, right? But yeah, it is what it is. What else I want to say about this thing? So I said it was 2 SKUs. We know that the 2 terabyte model. Honestly, the 2 terabyte model would be the one that I would go for because I just want a future proof. But if I was to buy a device right now, honestly, I still will go with the Iron Thor before I would buy this thing just for myself. Because I'm still following that and I'm trying to gather the library together, for the DS, the 3DS, the PSP, and the Vita, right? That has more value to me because it's different from everything else, where me buying that machine was like I'm gonna buy my 5th or 6th computer basically. The Steam Deck, I don't know, but maybe somebody might tinker with this thing to say like this would probably give you the best Wii U emulation, funny enough. Because if you got the Steam Deck, that could work as that little pad, and then that machine with the I think it's called a Mayflash, but with the sensor bar, basically will be hooked up at your TV, and then you could just play Wii U games and Wii games with that Steam Deck. Because they alluded to the Steam Deck and the Steam machine working together, but didn't really elaborate on that yet. But that's how I would use it, honestly. That's literally how I would use it. Which would be like an overpriced emulation machine.
Yeah.
But speaking of price though, because we're talking too much on this thing, what do you think they're gonna actually have the price at?
Again, I think it's gonna be console price, so around that $600, $500.
600. I think I can't see it being less than what the Steam Deck was, because they sat there and said it's going to be 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck, and we charge like $600 for the Steam Deck.
Yeah. I think the argument will be one is portable and one isn't. But I feel like this is supposed to be a console competitor. Again, depending on how they want to market it, I honestly feel it's supposed to be, why buy an Xbox or a PlayStation when you can get this? And if it's way too much more, it's like, well, I'm going to buy the PlayStation because it's 600, or I'm going to buy the Xbox because it's 600. Right? Like, it needs to be competitively priced. Like, I feel like the Steam Deck was competitively priced for the handheld market, and this is supposed to be competitively priced for the console market.
If I was to get it, I would have to somehow trick myself into thinking that it's new. And the only way I can think of doing that is if I bought one of them other 2 Elite controllers and just have a certain set of games that I play only on that thing. And I don't know what those games would be. But I would definitely swap out the controller for one of those Elite controllers, whether it was the Edge or the actual Xbox Elite controller too. So that's how I would do it. But it is attractive. I will say, like, it from day 2 till now, it's kind of grown on me. Just the idea of it, the excitement behind it. But I do still want to have one more discussion on this, and then we can move on to the VR headset. But I still believe, just like what I said in the DMs a while back, we are over consuming like crazy when it comes to hardware, because the Xbox Rogue Ally X came out like a month ago or 2 months ago, I think, something like that. And that thing was expensive in itself. Like the high end model was 1,000. Like, you imagine you bought that, right? You was really sitting there. You have to really make a commitment, and you finally buy that, and then a month later it's like, oh, here's the Steam machine, you know. And then I still believe, like, if we really sat down and wrote everything down, it's a new console or console-like machine every 6 months. But the games are not coming that quick. It's not coming that quick at all. But there's like 4 different versions of the Rogue Ally, right? There's a Steam Deck and then Steam Deck OLED editions. Then the older consoles have like Pro models or 2 terabyte models. And then the original consoles for this generation went up in price, right? And then there was like their Xbox Series S version, the Series X version. It looks like the Steam machine is going to follow some of the same model. The Rogue Ally technically followed the same type of model, high end, low end. It's just all of these devices, right? The Switch 2 came out, I want to say 2 months before the Rogue Ally. Like, this year alone, we had Switch 2, Rogue Ally X, and then now Steam machine being announced. There's a Thor device. There's an Ambernick device. These devices are everywhere. It's just so much hardware, but I feel like the games are just not keeping up with the hardware at all. That's just me. That's what I feel.
It ain't just you.
It's not just you or me. So how do you feel about that?
I've been saying that like, I don't understand why we keep even like, all this advertisement of like, it can do 4K and it can do this and it can do that, but then none of the games can keep up. Like,
that's another thing
the games
too.
they're releasing can't keep up, and then they're not releasing enough games. Like, every game takes 15 years before it drops. Like, there's just nothing.
That did remind me too, because they were advertising this machine is going to do 4K 60. And in my head, I was like, well, yeah, that's what they said with the Pro a year ago, right? Mm-hmm. That's what they said with all the other systems and stuff. We keep hearing 4K 60, 4K 60, 4K 60. It's funny because everybody kind of quietly stopped messing around with the term 8K, right? Mm-hmm. We stopped lying to ourselves on that, right? They also mentioned that in order for them to achieve this 4K, they need to utilize the FSR software, basically. So it's not a native 4K. They also someone mentioned that the power is equivalent to something like a 4060 as far as a graphics card. That's why I said it was right in line with my streaming PC. Which still isn't bad. It's just not as strong as like your 4090s, your 5090s, probably right. The 5080. So it is more of an entry level PC level machine for everybody.
They even said mid when they were talking about it. They called it a mid power. Like, that was the word they used.
Yeah. So the appeal of it is still there. It's still very, very strong. But unfortunately, it didn't come with, like, it would have been possible to, though, an exclusive title. It's just, here's another machine that's going to do the same things as before.
They still might announce one before it drops.
Yeah, they might do something, but I'm still excited for the hardware. I wish the software could keep up. The games, I wish they can keep up. But real quick, let's just deviate for a second. This is the Curse of the Golf game. Is that the name of it?
Golf.
Curse of the Golf.
Curse 2 Golf.
Oh, Curse 2 Golf. Well, tell us about it. What's going on with it?
Goofy, nice little what are these called? Like, where you have to aim correctly to get through a level. Basically, you were a golfer and then you die, and then now you're cursed to golf to try and escape the afterlife, to like purgatory. Um, but like very in a fun setting. So you have to like use different like drivers and angle correctly to get through the level. Almost on some like mini golf stuff from point A to point B. It's a nice, cool little puzzle like game.
Okay. You played this on PC?
Yes. Yep. From Epic.
Epic game. Oh man, because you can't play this on the Steam machine, man. Or maybe you can. You gotta work it
might be. I don't
around.
think it has anti-cheat. So you will have to work around.
Yeah, so there's gonna be some tinkering. That was kind of a misconception that they were mentioning about you don't have to worry about tinkering a little bit. I had
You
to
don't have to
tinker
worry
a
about
lot.
tinkering with Steam games. They
Yeah,
kept
I was gonna
stressing.
say like I had to tinker a lot with some of the stuff that I got.
Yeah. They
But
said
on the
Linux-based
Steam
stuff
decks.
you don't have to worry about. Like, it's just plug in and play for your Steam library. They mentioned Steam library a lot. But yeah, that's a cool little puzzle game.
Okay. Well, let's get off the Steam machine for a second. We'll probably hear more about it as time goes on. They gotta release the price at some point, right? The last thing I will say is somebody asked, and I don't know if they did it on purpose, but like one of the people they were interviewing was like, "So is this coming out spring 2026?" And the dude was like, "No, it's actually early 2026." So that's got to be first quarter because spring is usually like April and beyond a little bit. So within, I want to say February is probably where they're gonna do it, because February for whatever reason is always one of those months, February and October, where they're just like extra, stacking the games there.
Yeah.
So it will probably be around there. I think a low end model will probably be around the $600 mark, and then it might have a high end model around the $800 or $900 mark. Very similar to what the Rogue Ally was. That's my guess. But let's go ahead and move forward. Let's talk about the other thing here. The Steam Frame, which is their VR headset. Not as much of a buzz as the other thing, but I do want to just give it some time. VR headset. So this thing, they mentioned that they want this to be a streaming machine first. It's supposed to play VR games under PC, and then also play like big picture mode with your regular Steam games. So you'll be able to do the big theater mode that I was doing inside of the MetaQuest. On this thing, they did mention you could take the SD card out of your Steam Deck and just slide it directly in this, and whatever Steam games was already on it, it'll just pick up and play. I actually think that was pretty cool. That's a really nice idea. Unfortunately for me, I didn't do mine like that. Everything on my SD card is all emulated stuff. But the thing, if somehow you can put the emulators within that VR headset too, that would be a game changer. Then they'll have my attention. Then I'll be like, all right, you know what, I might have to get that thing. But it is pretty cool. They have I did want to mention for that ugly controller, I forgot. The controller's charger thing I thought was actually good. I think that's gonna come with it. Did you see that? Where it's just like you kind of lay it on that little box thing, and
trackpad thing.
yeah, and it just like it just charges. I do think that's good. That looked cool. Not that big of a deal, but that does look a little bit more advanced. That's like the only thing I can get from it. But as far as the VR headset, one thing that did stood out to me was they had a big giant dongle, whereas like if you're trying to stream from your PC, you can put this dongle on it instead of like that big long cord that I need to buy for my MetaQuest. I was like, dang, I'm about to buy this cord, and they got this dongle thing for that. It's like buy the cord or buy a whole headset. What am I gonna do? because I want to actually, I want it to be wireless still, but I do think I'm still going to end up buying the core for Black Friday. But what are your thoughts on this headset? Is this thing attractive to you at all?
Actually, yes. I still don't think I'm gonna get it, but I like the idea. Like it looks really good. I like the wireless aspect of it. That was one of the big deals that people always
Hmm.
said, like why they prefer VR for PC over console was the fact that it was wireless. But even for some of the wireless stuff, as you just mentioned, there's still some cords and certain other things you may have to get for peripherals. Where this thing seems like it's going extra wireless. Um, to me, that looks great. Like that is a really good selling point. Like for me, getting this machine, would really just be an extensive VR library with some other Steam stuff that I want to play, as opposed to like getting it for the Steam aspect.
Like I was saying before, we have so much hardware that's crazy. This Black Friday, one of the big things I wanted to focus on was scooping up a lot of VR stuff that was probably cheap because a lot of those games are already cheap. I wanted to get a case for the headset, the data cord for the PC, and then a few titles here and there. Um, but now this thing is coming out. I think I will be honest, I'm a lot more itching to buy the console, but as far as the headset, I can stand on waiting until next Black Friday time because I want to actually utilize my headset as it was intended as a VR machine first. You know, I want to slow down just a little bit with some of the hardware spending. But I am very much interested in that because if that dongle works the way I'm thinking it's going to work, you might be able to do big picture mode off of the consoles as well. But I'm hoping that we get to see some videos where people test that out, because then it's like a I don't know, I'll say day one buy, but it's gonna be a buy as soon as I'm ready type buy
Mm.
if that happens, because I was getting very, very used to just putting on the headset and then playing Game Pass with this giant screen in my living room on in the virtual space. So if I can hook the dongle up to any console and kind of do that, well, the modern ones, that has value to me. So I would love to see if that works that way. If it doesn't work that way and it's just like hooking that up to the Steam machine, your PC, I mean, I guess that's fine as well, because that does still have value. I think somewhere in the middle of that, the dude asked, can you use that to just watch medias as far as movies and stuff? And he said that's not his intent, but you can still do it. So if anybody out there still want to watch it with movies, that you can do as well. That has value to me as well. If I'm watching like your big sci-fi things, the only thing that's really coming to mind for me right now is actually Godzilla movies. But anything like that, you can probably use it for that as well. They did say it's not a focus on the mixed reality thing, and that's probably fine. It's intended to be a VR headset, so the mixed reality comes second, and I don't think that they're focusing on working with that type of software. I'm okay with that because the MetaQuest is doing that already, so I'm fine. But yeah, two pieces of hardware, two new pieces of hardware I'm excited about here. I just want to see more information on it, more things. But how do you feel about the pricing around this VR headset?
Like, what do I think it's gonna be?
Yeah.
It's probably gonna hit that what 300 mark. How much is the MetaQuest?
Yeah, the MetaQuest, the white ones, the S model is like 300. The regular model I think is like 5.
Oh, then this
Um
is gonna be around 5. I
this
think it's
black
gonna be the same price.
yeah, the Xbox model, the one that I got was 400. So I expect it to be somewhere in that ballpark. Um yeah, the VR showcase that we will talk about in a second, a lot of their games was mentioning that this is going to be under MetaQuest and Steam. The data cable allows me to use my MetaQuest to play the Steam games. So technically speaking, this VR headset is another machine that's technically useless to me. It's just another one of those things like, ooh, shiny new tech, just buy it. But hopefully I'll find some value. We'll find some value. It might be more valuable to you though, right? Because you don't have your own dedicated headset. Am I understanding?
Yep.
So you might be because the dongle thing might be a bigger value to you as well. Because if it allows us to just slap that thing on the PS5, and you can do super screen and walk away from the PS5 and be in another room, that actually is pretty cool. Yeah, but I guess we could move forward real quick. Let's go ahead with the middle of the road stuff real quick. We'll talk about some free games and some news, all centered around Epic Games, our unofficial sponsor, where we showcase the stuff that they give out for free, and of course it's free, so there's no complaining, right? We can't complain that when it's free, but yeah, Epic Games, which is not going to work very well on these machines. They gave out 3 games this week, actually, which I actually think is a cool deal. I mean, you get to try all these things out. So Scourge Bringer, I think we mentioned that from last week. Scourge Bringer, Songs of Silence, and then 0 Hour. 3 different titles there, all available from right now until November 20th. So definitely hop onto that. And then I think I'm gonna pronounce this right. Zotai? I don't know. Zotai? Zotai is another game that's available from November 20th to the 27th. Now that's just one title that week. And I think that's, the Thanksgiving Black Friday week. So 3 games now, 1 game next week. I don't know why they didn't just do 2 and 2, but however they want to do it, we ain't gonna complain. It's free. You know what I'm saying? You can't complain when it is free. Do you have any sales you would like to mention at all?
Not sales, but did I mention Amazon's games last week?
Probably.
Is
there a new particular game?
No, but I don't remember if I mentioned them, but just real quick, I can just go through. They have, New Tales from the Borderlands, Dungeons and Dragons Dark Sun series, Gas Station Simulator, Lovecraft's Untold Story. Yeah, I just
like, what you do there? Go just design the game to go get gas. All right.
Well, I think you're a gas station worker, not not getting gas for your car. Another right. World 20th Anniversary Edition, Fallout 76, Fort Solis, Dark City, Kiev Collector's Edition, and Played Up coming later. And then towards the end of the month, Dungeons and Dragons Kryn series and Dream Tactics, and then finally, Big Adventure Trip to Europe 6 Collector's Edition and Gunslugs.
Okay. Nice little collection there. I do want to mention one thing that I am going to jump on sometime next year. Nixie, the developer who made a lot of Joy-Cons and GameCube style Joy-Cons that they're known for, they came out, or they announced an adapter for the GameCube Joy-Cons that normally work on the regular Switch, where if you buy this adapter, it will allow you to take those Joy-Cons that you already own and just use them on the Switch too, which I actually thought was pretty neat and innovative, because they could have easily said, like, buy these, this controller again, and this is the version that works with the Switch too, but instead of doing that, they went pro-consumer and came out with an adapter that allows you to just simply slide them onto the adapter, the Joy-Cons, and then those clamp onto the Switch too. It does look like a long mess in a way, because it's kind of the adapter and stuff is like a really big long like keyboard style setup, but I do think it's pro consumer. I'm not really messing with the Switch 2 too much, so I don't necessarily want to buy them from their website yet. I want to wait until they add it to their Amazon website because from their main website they charge $10 for shipping. Amazon, you don't have to pay the shipping, so it's like I could just buy the thing over there. But I still think it's cool, and I do still recommend everyone buy their version of the GameCube Joy-Cons because those Joy-Cons can still work as Joy-Cons on the Switch. Then you could put it together as a GameCube controller, and then you could still use that same controller probably on the Steam machine as well. But I used it on my Steam Deck when I dock it for GameCube emulation. So it's very versatile. You can use it either way. Officially with YouTube, officially with Nintendo, or with Steam. So it's pretty cool. I just wanted to mention that. Did you know? It's funny because this ain't really a news topic to me, but apparently Horizon, as in Horizon Zero Dawn, made a MMO game that's for mobile and PC.
I just found out.
Horizon New Frontier, excuse me. Yeah, and so some people was upset because there's no PS5 version, and they feel like
that's weird.
You're not, they feel like the fan base who really cares about the exclusives is being like neglected.
Well, yeah, because that's supposed to be a lead title for PlayStation. That's weird.
So does this make you feel some type of way that you ain't get no MMO on PlayStation? Does the Horizon MMO?
I mean, I wasn't gonna get it, but I think it's really weird that it's not releasing on the flagship, like, company that made it. Like, that's really a dumb decision to do. Like, why would you not release it on your console when this is supposed to be one of the like every advertisement for Sony, you see Home Chick in the background. Like, she's like Aloy is like a leading character. That's weird to not release it there.
So yeah, they don't have her on the flagship show, but it is what it is. A flagship game that's no longer a flagship game. Maybe we can speak on that for a second. Concord. So you want to talk about this mod server that they have?
Yeah. So there was a mod server being worked on by some fans who was like, "I want it back," even though it was only like 8 of us that played. We want it. We got to bring it back. So they were going to work on a mod that'll allow them to play it. And Sony is like, no, that thing needs to stay buried. Stop trying to bring it back. So they got cease and desisted.
Well, I'm pretty sure there'll be a secret one that comes out again. And it'll be like some Discord, like edgy, small group of people who really want to play this thing. It is what it is. Is people out there really still got the disc? Because didn't they have a disc version?
Yeah, they had a disc version. They said after it got shut down, there was still one person who, for like a month or two, was still playing. Was the only person in the game from the disc because he kept it.
I feel like, because you remember Destruction All Stars, like they should just make some sort of version where it was bots and just kept it for what it was.
The whole thing should have been single player to begin with. It was advertised like a Guardians of the Galaxy thing, like knockoff. It should have been that. It was weird that they tried to do a story-based online only and then shut it down so quickly.
Okay. Well, yeah, it is what it is. Other piece of news, I guess, quick news. There were some videos out there of the Ambernick RGDS where they were showing off the unboxing of the thing, trying to generate some hype. It's still some hype for some people, but apparently, they lost a lot of people once they released the specs and everything still. So it is what it is, but it's decently packaged, I guess. Is your buzz killed for that, or are you still gonna try to get one of those?
No, I was already just only kind of considering it. I have a 3DS. Like, I don't need this thing. I still have a very well working 3DS with every game that I want to play, like on it. This would be kind of just me wanting to. I just
Mm-hmm.
want it all, but it's things I'm never gonna get to. Like everything I want to play, I have.
Yeah, because I'm head first into the Thor machine. I just don't want to do it until I make sure I have the library ready, and not just I got all the files, but like also the artwork and everything. So once you get the machine, you just drag and drop it, and then you just have like a just like the last device that we was on. Like once it's like that, it's like it's good to go, and I don't want to have to work at it with the device. It's like you'll never get everything right, but yeah. The Thor device though, funny enough, is it reminds me of like what I was saying earlier, like and what you just said, like you just have to have everything.
Hmm.
um because the Steam machine and the Thor device go hand in hand when it comes to consumerism. It's like, do I really need these things? It's like probably not. It's not even in my rotation for the next 6 months, but I still want it, I guess. Um But anyways, real quick, is there anything as far as Black Friday is concerned where you know for a fact that's what you're gonna buy on Black Friday or close to Black
Uh,
Friday?
yeah. So not that they're gonna necessarily be on sale for Black Friday. I was just buying things around this time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm picking up Dispatch, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, The Outer Worlds 2, a physical version of Sea of Stars, Digimon Story Time Stranger, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, and Is This Seat Taken?
Okay, so you got a nice little lineup there.
Yeah, nice little
Um,
seven. Which these are things I was gonna buy and play kind of right away. Anyways, I just
mm-hmm.
figured buy them around that time. But I guarantee like some of them are probably not even gonna be on sale, which is fine. These are just the things I planned on getting.
For me, it's really just the VR stuff I mentioned already, and then I will be getting the SD cards for a lot of this stuff. I don't know what machines I'm gonna just buy, but I do want to make sure I have the terabyte SD cards, just in case. If I'm gonna slide one in the headset, slide one in the Steam machine, slide one in the Thor device for sure. I know I'm gonna do that one, but I might get a second one, depending on if I really think I'm gonna get one of these other machines next year. Um, is that um funny enough, stuff that's not gaming related at all. I wanted to buy this slush maker, but and some knives to cook some really high quality meat. um, but honestly, right afterwards, I'm actually excited to do my blast from the past tour of the games that I'm going to be playing. There's a bunch of Spider-Man games I have on Xbox 360. Um, Transformers War of Cybertron, and then I actually bought some stuff off eBay. All of the 360 Transformer games that were like the movie tie-ins, they were like $10-15 each on eBay. I grabbed all of those. Infamous 2, the Wolverine game from PS3, some of them God of War tie-ins from the PSPs and stuff. Batman Origins, like that whole generation right there. I have a bunch of those that I want to like rotate in and out while playing some new stuff. I'm excited to play Remnant 2's DLC with you, but I think I could mention this on air. I'm gonna let the PS Plus lapse and then hope they'll give me a discount first. I'm gonna wait for it. If they don't give me the discount, then I'll just buy the thing again. Um, but mine's expires December 8th. I was hoping after Diablo we just go run into Left 4 Dead 2 real quick while I wait for that. And then afterwards I'll just buy it. If I don't want to pay the $80 if they're gonna give you a discount. Hope they're not listening to this. um but if they discount it to 60, I might stack it for 2 years. And then afterwards, we'll play Remnant and maybe we'll just do Left 4 Dead after that. But that's what I'm thinking about. I'm excited to beat Lilith. You feel me? Off of Diablo 4 today. I think we're gonna beat her today. I think. Hopefully we do. Um, I'm excited about that. Do you have a list of titles? This is a long segment for like the Epic Games, right? Do you have a list of titles that you are starting off for next year? Games to play.
Uh, well, I mean, if I don't beat Claire Obscure Expedition 33, um, or Digimon Stories Time Stranger this year,
Hmm.
then those are going to be where I start off next year. But mainly, there's those and what else did I buy? I had bought from a Humble Bundle. They had the Devil May Cry series, so 1 through 3 collection, 4, 5, and the DMC one. And I've really only played the DMC one all the way through, so I want to go
Hmm.
through and play all of those. Uh, that's about it. That's the main stuff. You know what? I
Okay.
also got to play Ghost of Tsushima. I've it's just been
The
sitting.
original or
Yeah, first
Yote?
one. Yeah,
Okay.
first one. Yep, it's just been sitting in my collection. It was like one of the first games I got on PS5, and it's just been sitting there the whole time. So I gotta play that.
I mean, I think I had mentioned it last month, or not last month, or last week. For me, it was Days Gone. I was mentioning that was a game that I just had. I remember buying it while I was still down south with family. And it came to my house when I got back, and I did not touch it this entire time. They came out with a PS5 like free upgrade, and then it was a part of the PS5 collection. They were doing that, and then I think I had it on PC through Epic, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and never played not one version of it. I got a PS4 version, PC version, PS5 version. Have not played none of them, and I bought the original one in 2019. And there was a few games that's like that. So I want to slow down overall buying games. I want to wait until they hit certain price points, unless it's like a really hot title. I do not think I have a top five for 2026. It's just probably GTA, obviously, but not a top five though. I don't actually think I had a top five this year. I just kind of was just buying some stuff, but I don't know if I'm really gonna play anything else where it's just like I need to buy this right away. The only thing was Expedition 33. I played in Game Pass. I just so happened to have Game Pass. Game Pass is usually hot during the summertime, and that's when Expedition was hot. Um, but outside of that, I mean, I just kind of played stuff, right? Um, what I do want to do though going forward is to make sure I have one title where I'm playing, and that's the title. And then there might be like one or two sidebar things, arcadey style things, but finish the title. That's the thing that I'm trying to do, is make sure that I finish everything instead of just, start and stop, start and stop. Outside of some of these Nintendo games that are coming out, because I know I showcased one last week. I'm going to showcase another one next week. Those are the ones that's like, okay, I'm just kind of showcasing it because I got them. They're here. It's hot for the moment, right? Age of Imprisonment was the one from last week. I think we did Pokemon the week before. The next one is the actual Kirby Air Riders. That's supposed to come to me by the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll do that, and then at some point in the first week of December, I think the last one was Metroid Prime 4. So I'll showcase 30 minutes of these titles, and then I'll stop that. But everything else is like, no, I have to actually play it, right? Actually finish it. That's my goal. Um, Real quick, I guess the last thing we could put in this segment, or I don't know how deep you want to go with it, but the Funko Pop thing, near and dear to your heart. I didn't collect these things, but you did apparently.
Mm,
I don't understand how they going out of business. How's everybody going out
Well,
of business?
I
It's
can
kind of
explain
crazy.
how they're going out of business.
Okay.
So looking into it, since 2011, they've been in heavy debt. So basically, they produced way too many of these things People
Yeah.
weren't really buying them, and then they had to like pay to like have them stored. And since then, $30 million worth of figurines were at risk of just being kind of thrown into a landfill.
A
Uh,
landfill.
yeah, they're
Why y'all ain't buying them?
215. I am. They're 215 million in debt. And lost 68 million over the last 9 months because they're making too many, right? Because like it's every single time there's like any sort of IP, it's like here's 8 of them, and then like if
Mm-hmm.
people are not really buying all of them, it's just like you know they're just sitting. And then occasionally they'll bring certain popular ones back, but then the other ones just kind of sit, and like they're just they're producing too many. I think unfortunately this might be one of the ones where they do kind of need to go a little more niche, like release a couple of them
Mm-hmm.
and like lower the amount of money that's costing them to like produce. Because like yeah, whenever you look, it's like yeah, we're releasing new ones, and here's like 50 new ones, right? And sometimes it'll be like, here's a bunch from a show I don't watch, so I don't know who's buying them, but like, I'm not from that one, or like I'm not trying to get every single Dragon Ball Z character, right? Like sometimes I don't want that or every single Pokemon, me
Yeah.
personally. But like they produce a lot and just not selling as many. When I look at other people, their collections is like, yeah, I got two. Like a lot of people I
Yeah.
know, it's like I got two Funkos. While I'm over here with well over like 125. Like I'm somewhere around 150 to 180. Like I got a lot, but again, that's not paying all their bills. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it seems they said that they may not be able to last another year.
Mm.
Which a lot of people are also saying they've been going for 10 years, and that's longer than most toy companies like have for any niche like
Mm-hmm.
item. Like this has been the same type of item for 10 straight years. Like, it was a good run. But yeah, I'm gonna be sad if they go. That's my main collection thing.
I'm used to just doing the figures and then like maybe some Transformers style stuff. But I haven't collected anything in a while. I was kind of done. I hit everything I needed to hit. Um,
I just pre-ordered a Dragon Zord one. It's a Dragon Zord with a little like cockpit area for the Green Ranger, like a little tiny Green Ranger sits in there.
mm,
Um, but I have the regular Megazord and the Thunder Zord, so now I'm gonna get the Dragon Zord because that one was sold out right away. So now they're releasing it again.
I haven't followed it in a while, but I'm still looking at the $400 versions of the Zords. The main one is that Thunder Zord. That one still looks phenomenal. I haven't really kept up with it in the past month, but I'm expecting them to announce it next year sometime. And then who knows when that's gonna come out. That thing is still one thing that I do want. It's just kind of expensive. But outside of that, I don't really have too much else to collect. Um, there is a dude out there who did a 3D print of the Ninja Megazord movie edition that looks really good. But I think he's asking for like 450 for that.
Yeah, that's
um,
another thing with them releasing so many Funkos and then they're like $12
yeah,
each. Like, I don't want them to go up in price. I do
yeah,
think they need to start releasing less. Like
they're gonna be
here's a
25.
new one. Yeah, I don't want that. But it has to be like here's one or two new ones. Like they should only be releasing like maybe 12 new ones per year, like one each month, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
have to do like the entire character catalog. Like when they released the Shazam movie, it was like, well, every single member of the family got their own Funko Pop. Or when they released that Black Adam movie, it was Black Adam got two Funko Pops, and then the rest of the Justice Society each got their own. Hawkman had two. Like it's like they're releasing a little too many. If they
Mm,
release a little bit less, I think they could thrive a little better.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, it is what it is. Hopefully, they could stretch another 2-3 years out of it at least.
That'd be
Um,
nice.
that would be nice, right? All right. I guess we can move on. VR game showcase. Did you watch this thing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's get through it.
I I almost considered dropping it from the topic because I noticed now the channel that it was on has 260 something thousand subscribers. And I checked again today, even though I wrote it down on here. That showcase had 459 views when I first wrote it down. Then I checked again today, and it was like 460 something views. It never crossed 500 views. And it was a full showcase where they showed some new games and had a whole thing. And I was just like, it just did not get no press.
Yeah.
Even though they were trying to talk about the VR headset in the middle of it, that was the new Steam machines, or not, the Steam frame headset all throughout it and stuff. It just did not get no views. I was just like, I don't know what happened. But I did write some stuff down for it. Did you write anything down for this?
I had two things.
So what you got?
I wrote down the Ready or Not VR mod.
I did too. Pretty cool.
Pretty good. And then Gunman Contracts.
Okay.
That was another one. It was basically the same thing as Ready or Not. Just like not with that name brand. It seems like one of them is Ready or Not, you're in a team. Gunman Contracts, subtitled Standalone, you're by yourself. And they even mentioned for that game it's going to have a VR and a non-VR mode. Regardless, so the two games I like both have non-VR modes, but those are the two.
I will say I tried to be a little bit more generous and write a few things down. The cool thing about it is I was able to wish list under both Steam and the MetaQuest because these games were primarily advertised to be on both platforms. But I started off with what they had on the pre-show. The pre-show was about 15 minutes, but the first thing that I put there, or the only thing I put there, was VR Giants, which I think was a port to the Quest, but was already on the PC. It's $20 on the PC. Only one person needs to get it. It has a friend pass. You could play with two people. It's like a 3D platformer type game. And then under the full show, I gotta admit it was really just the main popular stuff that they showed. Vampire Survivors having this VR mode that I wrote down. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Empire City. Honestly, it was just because it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's why I wrote it down. But it looked like they was hanging out in the in their little den that was like underground. Really, it didn't look like they did anything. But at least in the description, it's supposed to be a fighter and a platforming kind of game. The Ready or Not VRO mod. And then the last thing I have from that was Knights of Fiona, which I think was like the last main game that they showed, or world premiere. And it was, somewhat of an action adventure type game, and it also was co-op. And that was it for the showcase. This showcase that got like literally no views. I can't talk, right? But listen, they're going to have a spring showcase, and I will follow up even if they don't get that many views. Spring 2026, they plan to do another VR showcase. I'll be fair and check it out. I still grabbed some stuff here, even though nobody else paid attention. These games are also going to work on the new Steam frame. They were trying to tell y'all that. If y'all watch, ain't nobody watch, but it's going to be on the Steam frame as well. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Any other things before I just mention my last topic?
Nothing I can think of.
I can think of
PlayStation had a showcase.
Oh yeah, the Japan showcase.
Yeah.
Dang, I forgot to put this down. Did you watch it?
I did. I only got like one thing out of it though.
Let me give you some time to talk. I did not watch it. I remember highlighting it. Didn't I post it to you?
You did. But I also saw it the day before. I meant to post it to you and then you posted it, so I just didn't. But
okay.
It was, to be honest, it was a lot more DLC than it was games. Like the one that I wrote down is this game called Super Robot Wars Y. I had two games, Super Robot Wars Y and what was the other one called? It's Blaze Blue Entropy Effect X. Like, they love putting letters at the end. But Robot Wars Y, Super Robot, is like a tactical game, like moving around, and then the entropy one looks more like your anime game. The cool thing about the Robot Wars is they were really advertising their first DLC, which is supposed to be crossing over with stuff, and one of the things it's crossing over with is Kamen Rider.
Okay.
So that was cool. They showed off a DLC thing for Sonic Cross Worlds. They had some Dragon Quest stuff, like things like a lot of it, and then some horror games. They were showing off a few of those that looked okay. It seems like some that are making a comeback, but it was very heavy, like DLC and stuff. So I mean, it was okay. Also, what was weird, I don't know if this is like a necessary thing for them, but they said to celebrate some anniversary for like the PlayStation, they're going to be releasing a PS5. Like it's for the Japan market because this was the Japan showcase for them. But they're going to be releasing a PS5 that's like only in Japanese. And like I didn't understand the purpose because you could change the language to Japanese.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
on PS5, but they were making it sound like if you buy it, it'll like when you open it, you don't have to change it to Japanese. But I feel like it was preset to the language of whatever market you're in. Like I didn't have to
back
set
in the
mine to
day.
English.
Yeah, way back in the day, we used to have region locked games. And you needed to have like a Japanese PS2 to play Japanese PS2 games. Until emulation, I hope not. I mean, emulation kind of fixed that, but it would be silly. They said it was
going to be we're releasing pretty much it was a Japanese only like PS5 or the way they said it was like they didn't say only. They made it sound like it was like when you buy it, it'll start in Japanese by itself. Like I don't know if it was just the translation because of the subtitles, but it sounded like it made it sound like if you buy a PS5, they're natively in English and you got to change it and hope the games can translate. Where this one will automatically make everything Japanese right away. But it's like I don't feel like that's what they meant. It did, like I don't know, like it just seemed weird that they're going, this is what we're releasing for anniversary, like edition. But yeah.
All right. Well, before my last topic, I do want to mention because I kind of forgot. In the middle of the Steam Machine and VR headset discussion, they mentioned that they do not want to do a Steam Deck 2 until they can make sure that you will get a 50% or more performance boost based on what the regular Steam Deck can do. Which is cool. I don't know if they took a shot at the Rog Ally X versus Xbox Rog Ally X, but at least you would know you would definitively get quote unquote a generational leap there from Steam Deck to Steam Deck 2, instead of just slightly more, because kind of the Rog Ally X versus the Xbox version of it was only like a slight difference. It's pretty much the same device. It's just outside of the marketing and the Xbox logo, it wasn't that much of a difference. But they're saying they will, only do it once they can secure, a really better machine. So I'm actually excited about that because that sounds a little bit more consumer friendly to me. Yeah, and so that's it for that. But the last thing that I wanted to mention is I actually wanted to jump back to the Rog Ally for a second, because for exactly one day I was considering whether or not I would buy a PlayStation Portal around for Black Friday if they was to drop it back to $169, and the only reason is because of wanting to play the stuff handheld and not turn on the PlayStation like everything else, and still have the ability within the Portal to tell the PlayStation to capture the footage, because I thought that was exclusive to that. I knew you could remote play on the Rogue, but I thought you couldn't wake the machine, that's one thing, and then tell it to capture footage. And it's only because I didn't do my own research and was barely, showing it off. But I wrote down this thing. I wrote down this title on my paper called Rogue Ally Portal. I still have the base Rogue Ally, or the extreme version, I guess, the white one. But I did do some research on what to do, and I am happy to say the Rogue Ally can it can wake the PS5, and it can, obviously it could play Portal, or play like if it was a Portal, and then you can tell it to capture footage, capture the screenshots and everything that you would normally do. So there's no reason for me to buy it, and I'm not trying to duplicate a machine there. But I will say I am still having an issue with like audio cracking, which I'm pretty sure regular Portal doesn't have that. But it's not that much of a big deal, because once I change the bit rate, if I find the correct bit rate, I know it will go away completely. But right now, it does everything the Portal does. I know we had this conversation probably a long time ago. I just revisited it because I was really looking at all this stuff for a while, and considered it. I really considered it for a second, just because I was really getting used to playing handheld games and liking it. One of the games I jumped back into was Cyber Sleuth, Digimon Cyber Sleuth, and then the regular Steam Deck and Rogue Ally for whatever they do. But yes, you don't need it if you're going to buy a regular Rogue Ally. You don't need to buy the Portal. The Portal is literally subject to one machine, one set of games, where the Rogue Ally, not only can I remote play off of the PS5, but I also tested you can remote play off of the Series X. And what's cool about this is all you have to do is have the systems in rest mode. I can have my PS5 in rest mode over here in my PC area, and my Series X in rest mode over in the living room area where a possible Steam machine might go. And then I can just pick up this Rogue Ally and hit a button on either one of the buttons and just jump right into the libraries. And what's cool about that too is I can still tell it go back to rest mode and then just turn the other one on directly from the Rogue Ally. So it does give me a lot of value there. Now on the Series X, I don't have any audio issues at all. That just works, which is great. And then the Series X still has its backwards compatibility going all the way back to the original Xbox console. So if you put any of those games into the disc drive and it's in the disc drive, you can play those games portably on the Rogue Ally. Even though the initial machine is on the disc drive, you don't have to turn the TV on at all. With the PS5, I don't even have the HDMI cord hooked into it because it's over here in my PC area. I only have the PC hooked up right now. So I could technically turn that thing on without it even coming to a picture. I think you technically do the same thing on the Series X as well. And it just works as a tower, almost like a cell phone tower, and then the Rogue Ally is the cell phone, and it just plays. So for the people out there, I know there's so much machinery out here. Do your research on what you have. You'd be surprised on the extent of what it can do. Because that gives me value within the Rogue Ally. I use the Rogue Ally to do the streaming of those systems and just play regular games. The Steam Deck for me was really a super emulation machine, and then just some Steam games. Rogue Ally is like I'll play the Epic games on there a little bit more. But yeah, man, that gave me some value out of it. Just to play portably. I never thought I would want to play portably as much as I do now. But I've been like doing it a lot. It's very valuable when you come off work and you have this thing already charged up and you can just pick it up and lay down. It's not the same as sitting upright at a desk and sitting upright at the TV It's almost like there's more work involved in that. And I know it sounds so lazy, but it's just something about I can just lay back and then pick this thing up and play, and this thing is playing both machines basically. Um, and it's funny I mentioned that. It's like, well, why am I going to get the Steam machine? I was like, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to do that yet. But for anybody out there who's like, oh, let me trade this in for the Steam machine, all this other stuff, it's like, just hold your horses for a minute. Because you might not realize it, but you have value already in the stuff that you already have. Because that to me is a very valuable feature, to be able to play both machines. And these are dueling, I guess, console war-ish machines right now, right? Or not really anymore, but still. Like, but I can do this all on one device, which is valuable. That's all I really got to say. Do you have any thoughts on that at all, or are you interested in that type of setup?
I think it's pretty cool. I won't, because if I start doing that, then the Switch is never gonna get played. So I probably wouldn't
Yeah.
do it. But that's cool that you're able to.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. There's a lot of tinkering and stuff. And for the people out there, I just want to say right before we get done, just play your stuff, and enjoy your stuff. Do not be the person who is buying just as many hardware devices as games, but then when it comes down to, you're not even finishing the games. Because I think for everybody who probably feels like they just have to have the next thing, I don't know if they're all finishing the titles. We know the journalists don't do it, but I don't know if everybody else is doing it like that. I think we should just slow down, enjoy the holiday season. We can squeeze out 3 or 4 games to beat before the end of the year. Let's just do that. You know what I mean? Real quick before we go, Guacamelee 2 is on the screen. It's a nice little boss fight. Why don't you sell this game to the people before we get up out of here? I know we mentioned it last year, or not last year, last week.
Yeah. This game is fantastic. It's a fun, nice little parody of itself. Nice platforming, right? It can get difficult at times, but really fun, really smooth to play. It's just a really fun game. You got your map that you're exploring with your ability to turn into a chicken as well. That's a big part of the game. Definitely, I would say play the first one as well. This is a nice continuation of that. You could tell they really put an effort for this game. It never felt like it was getting boring, or I was kind of doing the same stuff. Even with mechanics being relatively the same, the levels are designed different enough that every one of them has their own crazy challenge. There was definitely some parts that took some effort to get through. So you don't get bored. It does take some skill to really pick up. So it's a really fun game. I strongly suggest it.
All right, cool. I'll lie. We got one more topic that I just remembered. It's gonna go by extremely, extremely fast. I promise. But we did not mention the November game releases. So I don't expect any of this stuff to be on Black Friday sales because they released in November. But I'll highlight a couple and then we can get out of here. So I got a list in front of me. Football Manager 26. This came out on November 4th. I know somebody out there wants to play that. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment came out November 6th. I've already showcased that last week. Definitely go check out the first 30 minutes of last week. What else we got on here? I didn't know if there was anything that was really big coming out this week or this month, but I will say a game that came out 2 days ago, hilariously enough, Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I'm hearing a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people is feeling this game, or at least the campaign. They're not feeling the all that sci-fi horror stuff. People just want regular Call of Duty, apparently. So maybe they might drop it for the next year. But have you heard about this? Like, it's a lot of downvotes on this right now. Call of Duty Black Ops 7. It might still sell very well, but yeah, people
I'm
ain't
sure
really,
it will.
people ain't messing with it right now.
It's Call of Duty. It'll sell.
At the same time, on November 14th, Where Winds Meet came out. That was one of those samurai-ish hack and slash type games. I think I mentioned it a long time ago. It finally came out. Did you know on iOS and Android there was a Resident Evil game called Resident Evil Survival Unit that comes out tomorrow, November 17th. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Well, now you know. Deadpool VR is coming out on November 18th. That's the Quest version. It's only on the Quest. But yes, a Deadpool game in VR. Should be fun. Should be fun. I think I mentioned it a couple times already, but Kirby Air Riders, exclusive to the Switch 2, will be out on November 20th. I will be, giving you guys a preview of that. We might actually have to postpone one extra week. I forgot to tell you something, but next week we might not be able to do it. I'll let you know off air why. But after that, I'll come back with this game. And then the last thing I have on here, which is actually something I'm looking forward to a lot. Terminator 2D No Fates. That is coming out November 26th. It kind of splices a lot of the movies together, a lot of the action scenes in a 2D form factor where you play. This is going to be on everything. PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. You remember seeing that when it had like a big buzz at one point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's finally coming out November 26th. It's not going to be a day one buy for me, but I do have it wish listed on everything. But I do want to play that at some point. Was this something that was interesting to you? Did you see all the movies?
Yeah, I've seen all the movies. It looked interesting. I don't know if I'll get it like right away. Probably wait. Like I'm assuming it'll probably be a free PS Plus game like the other, like RoboCop and things like that.
So that's what it was. And that's really it. Afterwards, I want to get in the habit of saying the releases at the beginning of every month. But it is what it is. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for joining. Enjoy the holiday season and play a bunch of games. Play and finish those games. All right, peace.